From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. More than 40% of the United States is experiencing drought heading into the spring, and that dryness, combined with warmer than average conditions, is setting the stage for an active start to the wildfire season in parts of the country. AccuWeather meteorologist Brandon Buckingham said the most concerning areas this spring will stretch from the interior west into the plains, with additional pockets of elevated risk across Florida and parts of the mid-Atlantic. Conditions across the Four Corners have been exceptionally dry and warm this winter, with record-low snowpack reported in some areas and long-term drought firmly in place. That combination raises concerns about early fuel drying before the landscape has a chance to green up. Buckingham said that across the nation this spring, the Four Corners region and the adjacent Front Range and High Plains are expected to feature the highest risk for wildfire activity. On Tuesday, the Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management reported widespread wildfire activity across Beaver, Texas, and Woodward counties, prompting activation of the State Emergency Operations Center and coordinated support from multiple state, federal, and tribal partners. The Ranger Road Fire alone has burned an estimated 145,000 acres, with grass and brush burning across both Oklahoma and into Kansas on Wednesday, and the continued threat of critical fire weather conditions. Combined with several other smaller fires, including the Stevens, Side Road, and 43 Road fires, the total acreage impacted across the region has topped 155,000 acres. About half a dozen structures were destroyed on Tuesday after the blaze started. Fierce winds gusting over 60 miles per hour helped propel flames rapidly northeastward through dry grasslands, overwhelming initial containment efforts and grounding aerial firefighting operations. High wind speeds have also contributed to dangerous blowing dust and poor visibility, creating secondary hazards for travelers on regional roadways. Above-average temperatures and below-average precipitation are expected to persist across the region through much of the spring. When strong wind events develop, especially before widespread vegetation growth, fire danger can escalate quickly. Below-average snowfall will also cause wildfire concerns in Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. Storms in March should help limit early-season fire risk, but drier conditions in April and May could allow fuels to dry earlier than the historical average. In California, a few storms late in the winter could help offset some short-term dryness, but fire concerns will increase by May. Higher humidity will help reduce the fire threat along the coast, but any wind events could briefly spike that risk. AccuWeather will provide a more detailed breakdown of the California wildfire forecast later in the spring. Temperatures have been above to well above average across much of the central and southern plains this winter, while drought has expanded and intensified. When fronts move through with gusty winds, it will create prime conditions for fast-moving fires, with the western halves of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and eastern Colorado likely to face a moderate to high risk for wildfire activity through the spring season, particularly during windy periods preceding green-up. Farther north in the Dakotas and parts of Montana, late-season snow will help to suppress overall wildfire risk compared to areas farther south. The wildfire risk is not expected to be as widespread in the eastern U.S. as in other regions of the country, but there will be pockets where fires could break out when conditions align. Florida stands out as the area of greatest concern, in part due to winter freezes that may have damaged smaller vegetation, adding to the availability of fuels. Portions of the southeast are expected to face the highest wildfire risk across the region due to ongoing drought and the climatological tendency for dry stretches prior to the onset of the summer rainy season. In the mid-Atlantic, drought remains entrenched in some areas despite winter snow cover. The highest risk of wildfires will likely occur after the snow melts, the ground dries out, and before trees and vegetation begin to leaf out. As spring progresses and vegetation emerges, near to above average precipitation should help keep overall fire danger near seasonal levels, though brief periods of elevated risk are possible on dry and windy days. Well, another force of nature reared its ugly head this week in California. 8 skiers were buried and died in an avalanche near Lake Tahoe in Northern California's Sierra Nevada mountains amid heavy snow and extreme weather conditions. One skier is still missing. 6 others participating in the 3-day backcountry trip had previously been rescued with various injuries. The skiers were on the final stretch of their trip and were returning to the trailhead Tuesday morning when a wave of ice, rocks, and debris came crashing down on them. The avalanche spanned about a football field's length of the mountain. The disaster at Castle Peak set off a dangerous hours-long rescue effort hampered by heavy snow and strong winds from the winter storm roaring through the rugged Sierra Nevada mountains. An avalanche warning remained in effect for the greater Lake Tahoe area through Thursday morning. As the search continues, rescue crews face additional rounds of snow, gusty winds, and more avalanche danger this week that could hinder rescue efforts. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.